Hello again and welcome to the Mike Leaf Show. I'm Grant Wall, joined as always by Winona State head coach Mike Leaf. Warriors go down to Upper Iowa last Saturday, only one game on their schedule last week, fall to the Peacocks in a game that has to be, I know you were watching some film before you came up here, a game that has to be still underneath your skin a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and the thing about it is that we had I felt a great week's practice. You got the one game that you're playing, so I know we've really asked a lot out of Anthony Tucker and Ben Fischer in the minutes that they played. We got one game, and we went in there and we did not play very well at all. And it was defensively, we just didn't have the firepower, and offensively, we shot the ball just terribly. And, you know, across the line from free throws to three-point shots, and the only bright spot was we were getting some scoring inside. But, you know, one of those things. And, you know, as I told our team afterwards, you know, you got to move on. There is some upsets that happened in our league, and, you know, you're always in the thick of things. And I really have believed this. I think we have the talent. We've just got to find a way to play our best ball coming up here these next couple of weeks.
What was Upper Iowa able to do? Your team only shot 38%, struggled from long range, especially there in the first half. What was Upper Iowa able to do to limit your chances and limit some of the looks that you could get?
Well, I think they came out really hungry, and you know, like in teams past that I've had, you have to understand is that you're always going to have that. You can look at your record, but they're going to come at you, and they're going to come at you hard. You know, it's a team that we've beaten on a regular basis. And you have to have that mentality. But, you know, we had open looks. You know, Anthony Tucker had quite a few open looks. Ben Fischer was, my gosh, I mean, he just missed everything. And it was just a very, very poor shooting night. And, you know, we went with some different lineups that were out there. We tried some different people to try and bring that spark out there on that floor and get us some scoring, and we just didn't get it done.
Clayton Vetty, you can definitely call him a bright spot from Saturday's game. Scores 21 points, I believe 9 of 14 from the field. Very, very efficient in what he was doing. And another game, seems like every week we talk about him down low. He has had, quietly, he hasn't, not a whole lot of flash to his game, but just a very, very solid player, having a very, very good season.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about it, is that we have that presence inside. We've got the size. We can score. And, you know, I know we've got the guys from the perimeter. John Wahlberg, for instance, coming off the bench. You know, Xavier Humphrey, and guys that can shoot that three ball and also take the ball to the basket. And it just seems like we're missing a certain element. But I flip it to the other side of the floor, and that's our defense. We're giving up way too much dribble penetration, and that was the big key for us against Upper Iowa. We gave them too many looks and too many, you know, the shot clock would get down, and bang, they'd take it to the basket, and we were unable to stop them from scoring, and they had that offensive patience. So our defense has to pick it up here, and you know, that's going to be the focus and is the focus this week.
It seems like somebody always has a great game. It was Clayton's turn on Saturday night, but not a whole lot of support from the other guys around. How do you get 3-4 guys stepping up together, playing well at the same time? How do you get them to do that and kind of feed off of each other?
And that's been a big key for WSU basketball for years. I've always felt like you've got to have 4 or 5 guys that are in double figures. You have to. You cannot rely on 1 or 2. And you could certainly see that they had a major focus on Anthony Tucker. And I told him, you're going to get this. You're getting it all season long. And you know, you can't force some shots. If you do and you miss, then all of a sudden there's that confidence level that you're missing. And so we've got to be a little bit more patient on offense. And I think, you know, I worked for Les Whitkey for 6 years, and I thought one of the best things that he ever taught me was to, you know, you got to work on those so-called problems, but at the same time you got to stay positive, and especially this time of year. So we got to have fresh legs. We got to play solid defense. You know, you can miss shots, but you got to play defense, and we just didn't do that. And like I said, we're going to harp on that all week long and get ready for this major road trip for us.
You mentioned a couple minutes ago, despite the loss, there were some upsets here in the conference. The number one upset, being Concordia St. Paul over Minnesota State, a team that going into the weekend led the region and is a ranked opponent, a very, very solid opponent. That's the beauty of this time of year, though, is that conference tournaments start and the slate's wiped clean. It doesn't matter what you've done. If you win that conference tournament, you still have a regional bid, and things kind of start fresh for you.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, it's, and I give Mankato a lot of credit to this point, and they've got a confident team. But there are pressures that we've had that in the past. There's pressures that are put on you, and Concordia's got a very talented basketball team, and so you just don't know, and you let your guard down just a little bit. Anything can happen, but you're exactly right, and that's where, like I told the team, yesterday, was I really do believe in this basketball team. I believe in their abilities, and on any given night we can beat anybody. And those pieces to the puzzle, we've got a couple weeks here to work on it, but it's going to start with that, Moorhead game, and that's something that we just, I look forward to. But hey, these days, every single day in practice, we've got to build that confidence and eliminate some of those mistakes that we did against Upper Iowa.
And sometimes flying under the radar can be a good thing when it comes to postseason.
It is. You sit there and you look at the beginning of the year, and they throw you on this big pedestal. And we had a lot of guys that hadn't had a lot of experience. And but like I said, I still believe in this squad and their capabilities. And you're right. We're in an underdog situation, and hopefully that's going to work out for us.
Mm-hmm. That's all for this segment here on the Mike Leaf Show. We'll be right back with more from Coach, as well as Warriors senior Ben Fischer.
For the best cars, best prices, and best people, get your hoops on the sunny side of Highway 61, Sugarloaf, Ford, Lincoln, Mercury. And speaking of hoops, 3 lucky fans will be drawn in the second half of each game for a chance at a half-court shot, the last home game to win a brand new 2011...
Welcome back to the Mike Leaf Show. I'm now joined by senior point guard Ben Fischer. And Ben, a very tough weekend down in Upper Iowa. We'll talk about it very briefly, but what made Dorman Gymnasium such a tough place to play this past Saturday?
That place is tough to play because it's kind of smaller and the fans are kind of right on top of you and stuff like that. And when we got off to the start we did and got behind, the fans got into it and it was sort of tough.
You've been here, 4 years. You've seen the valleys. You've also seen, been to the national championship. How do you keep this team fired up and ready to go here down this final 4-game stretch?
We just got to understand that we need to keep getting better every day. I mean, there's things that we can fix, that we will fix, and so hopefully we make a good run here at the end of the regular season and work on some momentum going into the playoffs and stuff.
You were out there for 39 minutes on Saturday night. From your perspective, maybe what's that one element that really hasn't quite clicked yet for you guys?
Probably just consistency out of everyone and being able to work as a unit out there, screening for each other, rebounding, like doing all the small little things. It's not necessarily scoring or anything with numbers or stuff like that, but we need to get better at doing the little things.
You guys head up to Crookston and Moorhead this upcoming weekend. Certainly a lot of vengeance for that Friday night game against Moorhead as they came in here to McCown. How have you guys maybe started to prepare for that game on Friday during this week's practice?
Maybe not so much worrying about them, but worrying about what we need to do every week and things like that. I mean, obviously that when they beat us here, that hurt, so hopefully we'll come out and play a good game against them.
We got to talk about it. I know you're a very humble guy, but 1,000-point score, 600 career assists. No one's ever done that in the history, a very rich history of here at Winona State. How have you grown as a player here in 4 years? You just consistently got better. What has contributed to that 1,600 assist record?
I mean, 600 assists is just I've played with a lot of good players. I mean, my freshman and sophomore year played with a couple All-Americans and things like that. I mean, it helps. And then just the opportunity to play game in and game out that Coach Leafs and all the coaches, the opportunities that they've given me has just helped me get to this point.
Maybe what is that one moment, or what is one moment that you'll remember the most from your 4 years here as a Warrior?
Probably just the opportunity to play with guys like Jonte and John Smith and David Johnson, guys that are just amazing at what they do, and it was just a lot of fun that freshman year coming in and seeing and getting to the pinnacle and understanding what it is to be a great team like that.
How do you, tell these younger guys? Obviously, you guys had to fight through some injuries. Taylor Cameron has been injured for quite a while now. Brad Meyer trying to rehab that knee and get back into the lineup. How do you guys rebound from, trying to get 10, 11 guys now in that, maybe didn't play as much at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, that's what we're looking for right now. We're trying to find guys that can do the right things out there, do the little things, and make us play better as a unit. So.
All right, now we'll go to the player profile side of Ben Fischer. And, Ben, you and your brother both play here at Winona State, and we've always wondered, a lot of guys can become great shooters by working on that in practice. A lot of guys can dunk because they work on their dunking, but the art of passing maybe was lost. But how do you get better, it seems, game after game at being such a crisp passer?
It's not necessarily the physical side of it. Being a good passer is just knowing your teammates' strengths and where they want to get the ball and where they like to take shots from. And so it's just thinking the game and mentally knowing preparation, knowing where the defense will be, and that helps everybody score, and that gets you assists.
And growing up with Jordan, you guys, used to shoot on your Michael Jordan hoop. Did you make him a better dunker, and then, vice versa? Did he make you a better passer?
Yeah, I hope. The relationship that we had when we were younger, obviously playing against each other and stuff like that, makes us both better. So hopefully he's learned some things from me, and hopefully he continues to get better.
Who is the best dressed guy on the team?
Best dressed, I don't know. CJ wears a lot of crazy stuff. You never know what you're going to see CJ, and he can get really classy, and then sometimes he'll come out in some jumpsuits. I don't know. Bryce and Vetty think they're cowboys now, so they're always walking around in cowboy boots. I don't know. We've got some people making some statements, I guess. I don't know.
What is your favorite activity when being prepped for a game over there in the athletic training room with Rick Crowley?
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with Rick down there in the training room. So I don't know, either whether playing around in a little handheld Yahtzee game or just goofing around with Rick. It's a lot of fun down there.
What teammate would you least want to see turn into the Incredible Hulk?
I don't know, somewhere between Vetty and Joel. Vetty's obviously just huge, so you wouldn't want to mess with him if he was upset. And Joel is just kind of goofy and crazy, so I'm not really sure what would happen if he got big.
All right, well, thank you, Ben, for joining us here on the Mike Leaf Show. Coming up next, Grant Wall will rejoin me, and we'll talk a little bit about this past weekend's loss to Upper Iowa and preview Moorhead and Crookston.
Tune in to KQAL 89.5 FM for all football, men's and women's basketball games, home and away, or visit the Athletics website to listen live. The Warrior Weekly Review is on the air. Check KQAL 89.5 FM or the Athletics website under the Multimedia tab. Hear from Winona State coaches and catch up on all Warrior action. WSU and HBC present Show Us Your Duck. Show your duck at participating businesses and get all kinds of discounts. And you keep the duck to use all year. Visit my.hbci.com/duck for discounts and details.
See what a smile can do. At Hy-Vee, your health is what matters most.
That's why we offer hundreds of organic and heart-healthy foods.
Expertise in disease management and over 100 in-store dietitians. See what a smile. We'll customize a diet and exercise program for you and your family. We're your personal health team, here to keep you healthy and happy. There's a helpful smile in every eye.
Welcome back to the Mike Leaf Show. Grant Wall joined by the voice of the Warriors, Matt Prink. And Matt, it was a disappointing weekend. The Warriors go down to Upper Iowa, fall there to the Peacocks in a game where Winona State really couldn't get anything going offensively.
Yeah, you saw that right from the get-go. Upper Iowa, they came out very quickly. They just looked a little fresher than we did, and that's kind of plagued Winona State throughout this year, is those slow starts. And you go down 13 at halftime, they just seemed to keep getting those tip-ins, and really they were flying around the floor, and we weren't. So a very tough loss, a very tough ride home. But it's how do you come back from that game, which I think is even more important in this final 4-game stretch. It wasn't the springboard that we thought it was going to be. Now we have to try and dig ourselves back out.
Listening to Coach Leaf talk, he's not worried about the offense. A shooting game like Winona State had on Saturday with the shooters that we have on the team is a fluke, not necessarily something that's going to turn into a pattern. He's not worried about the offense. It's the defense that he has spent most of his time talking about, something that the Warriors really need to shore up.
Well, we saw their best defensive game of the season against St. Cloud here at McCown Gymnasium. That was the best game we've seen all year, and it says it on the back of their jerseys in practice. Defense wins games, and truly it did. It won them that game against St. Cloud. Unfortunately, they couldn't follow that up with the Concordia St. Paul game, and they let Matt Leeson be a part of that first half. He ended with 17 points. He was 12 of 12 from the free throw line, so he was able to get in the head of Winona State right from the get-go, and shooting woes, that's something that you live and die by, we always say. And really, it's a tough gymnasium, Dorman Gymnasium. It's not a wall right behind the rim. It's a good 20 feet, so maybe messing with their depth perception there in the first half got them a little down, and they were just never able to recover.
Absolutely, and we're going to do the same thing that the basketball team's doing right now. We're going to put this game behind us. We're going to talk about this upcoming weekend. 2 big games on the road against MSU Moorhead on Friday and then Crookston on Saturday.
Yeah, Moorhead, a middle-of-the-pack team still. One of those trap games that if you don't bring your best effort, especially on a road trip like this, going up there, 6+ hour bus ride, the quick turnaround, how do you prepare your team both mentally and physically, even emotionally, coming off a disappointing loss to Upper Iowa? You got to have a short memory. It's almost like a baseball reference, a short memory. Focus on the game, one game at a time, instead of focusing so solely on Moorhead game that you maybe let the Crookston game get away from you. So certainly a lot of games left to be played. A lot of 2 big games come back here at McCown Gymnasium, Bemidji, and University of Minnesota Duluth. So you hate to look so far ahead, but you got to think that the Warriors have to win out to stay within that region and make a nice run through the NSIC tournament.
And on Friday, the Warriors are going to be looking for some blood, some revenge against a team that beat them here in McCown a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and Moorhead, they had the winning. They came out quickly. Once again, we see these slow first halves when other teams shoot very well. Moorhead shot above 70% from the field, which a lot of teams can't do that for the entire game. They ended 62%, I believe,
a very good
from the
shooting
field.
game.
And to play that way on the road, you got to hand it to them. They did very well coming in here to a hostile environment in McCown, but Winona State, they got to match that effort. They got to go up there. They got to be ready to play from that opening whistle. Have a little fire. Try and find that 5 out there that'll work a little better. Certainly we'll talk about the injuries. That hasn't made their route any easier when you don't have Taylor Cameron coming off the bench anymore. Right now, Brad Meyer still trying to rehab that knee, so it kind of throws a wrench in the system. The usual process of, okay, who comes in now, who fits into the 5 on the floor.
And then Saturday night against a Crookston team that has struggled this season, but at this point of the year, with positioning in the conference tournament and everything, as you look towards trying to solidify your place in postseason play, every single game is so important. And Crookston is an opponent that's very balanced offensively. Coach will talk about that here in a few minutes. But a team that can hurt you if you don't give them your undivided attention.
Well, absolutely. And, you saw in that first half here at McCown again, you allow that one player to really go off, and they got it going early. I believe, a 20-point effort from their point guard down here at McCown. And you can't allow one guy to beat you. Obviously, you don't want the team to beat you, but you just got to shut it down. You got to have that team mentality of defense. One eye's on the ball, one eye is on your man. But we just haven't found that recipe on defense to really shut down the opponent's top scorer week in and week out.
And it's a recipe that's out there, and this team is talented enough that when they find it, they're definitely primed for a big postseason run.
Well, and you got to be happy with Clayton Vetti's effort in Upper Iowa, 21 points, and really he was a man on a mission. Every time he got the basketball, I think it's tough for that guy to progress because he's already so good. Mm-hmm. But game after game, he gets better passing out of the post. He gets it inside, he holds it, he waits for that double team, and he finds the open man. Unfortunately, we couldn't cash in on some of those open shots, but shooters, you got to shoot through your struggles, and when they are struggling, get it into Vetty a little more. Joel Armstrong, like we said, has been playing better and better. Once we get this team healthy and they really start meshing together, I think this team can be dangerous come the NSIC tournament and hopefully into the NCAA tournament.
That's right, and hopefully they find that recipe here as we finish up these last couple weeks of the regular season. That's all for this segment. I'll be back with Coach one last time right after this.
Power, intensity, courage, teamwork, reaching back for more, knowing you're a champion. That's our purple. Winona State Athletics. Find your.
Looking for great off-campus housing? Great River Management and Sales has a large selection of houses and apartments representing many of Winona's property owners. Owners and renters rely on Great River Management. Stop by the Great River Boat at Main and Broadway and see what we can do for you.
Welcome back to the final segment here on the Mike Leaf Show. And Coach, another 2 big games this weekend, the final 2 road games of the regular season for you, going up Friday, a game against MSU Moorhead, and then Saturday, a game against Minnesota Crookston. 2 teams that you split with earlier this year, beating Crookston, losing to Moorhead. What do you do Friday on the road, hostile environment? What do you do to get that game back that Moorhead was able to steal here in Winona?
Yeah, and I tell you what, Moorhead is actually playing some good basketball.
They are,
and well coached. We're preparing for that game. You don't even look past anybody, and I think it's a sense of urgency, and our guys know that. And so we got the scouting report, we got everything we need. It's a matter of, and it's not so much what they do, it's what we do. And that's been our problem, actually, is we got to shoot the ball well, we got to take great shots, we got to have some patience, and we got to play defense. And, of course, we can pinpoint certain areas for them and their strengths and weaknesses, but it's what we do out there on the floor. And like I said, we've had a couple of good practices thus far. We've got 2 more to go and to prepare for that basketball game.
Are you seeing some of that sense of urgency from your guys, knowing that we're down to the last 2 weeks of the season?
Oh, there's no question. No question about it. And I think sometimes we put a little bit too much pressure on ourselves. But, the game's meant to play, to have fun playing the game. And, I just think that it's one of those things where we've got to do all of these things well at the same time. And you mentioned earlier, about like Clayton Vetty has a great game inside, but yet we're missing our outside shots, and then all of a sudden we're hitting the ball from the outside, and our inside game is non-existent. And then defensively, the communication aspect, we're really, really focusing on that right now, and rebounding. We've actually done a decent job rebounding, and just to put all those pieces together and have that confidence. And that's my focus right now, is to build that confidence, be positive, and be ready for these games, upcoming games.
Saturday's game at Crookston. Crookston's a team that doesn't necessarily have a great win-loss record right now, but they're an incredibly balanced team. They have 5 guys averaging better than 10 points a game. Led by 2 players averaging 13, so they're a team that is getting production consistently across the board. Another very dangerous team to prepare for.
And I think those are the toughest teams to play against, are those that have 4 or 5 guys in double figures, because you can't really focus on stopping 1 or 2. And, playing up in their gym, they've got a nice atmosphere up there, and it's not like they got the biggest crowds, but it's a good atmosphere. And again, you're on the road, you're traveling a great distance, and definitely a team that's you're trying to get yourself in a position to get into a conference tournament, etc. And when you're on the road, it's tough. It really is tough. But it's 2 teams that we definitely can beat. I believe in our guys, and like I said, I'm not worried about Crookston right now. It's Moorhead first, and then we'll move on.
Yep. What's the one thing you want to see out of your guys in these 2 games as you progress towards the conference tournament? What's the one thing you want to see from them?
The big thing is our defense and consistency. And we can't break down on the defensive end. And it's a finish thing. In transition, we don't give up layups. In transition, we got to know who we're guarding. In transition, we get to the quarter court, now we play solid man, and if a team like a Crookston is going to hold on to that ball and run it down to the last 10 seconds on the shot clock, so be it. But we have to have that intensity and that heart out there on the floor on that end. And that's the key, and then to finish it with the rebound. And the offense will take care of itself, but it's our defense that we've got to work on.
And here's hoping for a couple good results as we're getting down. Can count the number of shows we have remaining this year on one hand, probably, as season starts to tick away and games are getting fewer and fewer as we get into the postseason. That's all the time we have here for this week. Thank you very much for joining me. For Coach Leaf, Matt Prink, and Ben Fischer, thanks for watching.